Hi, you guys. Y'all are still with me. This episode 3. We still doing it. Welcome back to the Kissmeco podcast, the Dear 20 series. So, y'all, we got through year 2014. We've done 2015. Now today we're gonna focus on year 2016. This year, I would say I was 21, turning 22 this year. This episode, I'm gonna focus more so kind of like on the development of Kissmeco. I put a lot of energy, time, and just a lot of creativity going into that first year, first few months going into, I'm sorry for the mic, but going into 2016 and building up Kissmeco and building up the momentum for Kissmeco. So I'm gonna kind of just go over the good, the bad, and the ugly, just different things that were key moments in trying to get Kissmeco out creatively, but also like the other side of it, of the different things that I was feeling, just internally, and just what I was dealing with on the outside too. So, so before we even get into it, now I gotta start to plug in. I hope y'all like, share, and subscribe to the channel. What they be saying, hit that notification bell so y'all know when we drop each episode. Right now we're gonna drop each episode other Monday. Give y'all some time to let each episode digest and everything like that. Just trying to think of some things off the top of my head that I need to, like my church announcements, to let y'all know. But if anything comes up, I'll interrupt and just enter that in. But let's just get into it. We'll go through the good, the bad, the ugly, what I was thinking about at the time of these things, and at the end, we'll just reflect as far as what my mindset is now that I'm 30 versus when I was 21 at the time. So let's get into it. So, of course, when I started Kissmeco, like as far as putting it on paper, that was in March or April of 2015. So from that time up until now we're in 2016, I was just doing a lot of groundwork. As far as like establishing the name, getting it registered, like my LLC, creating a website, just doing all the logistics of everything. But keep in mind, this is my first time doing all of this stuff. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just watching YouTube videos and trying to figure this stuff out as I go. But I'll just speak to as far as like good things that came out of it, like because I was putting a lot of time into learning how to start up a business. I was reading different articles, reading different books, a lot of self-help books I was reading around that time too, just trying to get my mind in the right the right mind frame as far as to be prepared to, what I will be working with and like what's to come with business. So I have here on my notes, like putting systems in place. So one thing that I did, like what I spoke on the last episode, was me going to the gym. But that was like my first, I guess that was my first thing of me trying to figure out what discipline looked like, and staying disciplined so I can see results. And I was like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Just go to the gym and just see how I feel from there. And of course, I kept a planner. I kept a planner, or I kept a notebook. So of course, the whole this whole podcast is based on my journal entries, but I would use my journals at the time to like put my You don't have to zoom in or nothing, but I would just put in like what I needed to do each day, and I would just go from there. Like I was putting what I needed to eat each day, everything, but I was just trying to keep a system in place to, I guess, to feel motivated. Because I feel like if I didn't write things down and check them off, I just didn't feel productive. I didn't feel like nothing was getting done if I didn't keep track of everything that was going on. So, um, let's read a journal entry. I got a little journal entry. Let's read the first one real quick. I'm gonna put this under here. It's hard conducting your own show when it's just you. It's like, it's just, I'm going off my thoughts and stuff. But just a second as I find this journal entry speaking to the good of everything that was going on. Let's see. So let's just do the first entry for 2016. So this is January 6th, not the other January 6th, but January 6th, 2016. So, well, we're well into the year of 2016. I'm blessed. I am at peace with everything. I'm satisfied with my life right now. I'm very much thankful. I just want to write my thoughts out as I go today. I'm at the point, at a stop sign in my life. Wait a minute. I'm at the point, stop sign in my life, day to day, with day to day conflict with myself. I want to begin to reach deeper as far as to learn to heal myself even more. I'm at a constant battle with eating bad occasionally when I want to be natural. Don't get me wrong, I've come a long way, but digging deeper is the goal. I have to realize that me time is just as beneficial as business. My state of mind has to be healthy as everything else. Tomorrow is my second photo shoot ever in life. I know it ends there because I guess that was the end of a thought, but that's just speaking to me kind of keeping and trying to maintain different systems to keep in place. As I spoke in there, I was like, I'm trying to reach deeper. Like, of course, talking about referring back to 2014 and 2015, of course, y'all know the things that I was going through at the time internally. But just also kind of keeping myself in the mindset of like, okay, these things are going on, but there's goals to accomplish. So don't let that overtake your vision as far as what you're trying to accomplish. So my thing as far as like when I was saying like my constant battle was to stay healthy. Now at 30, I just found that you got to have balance and everything. I was trying to do cold turkey diets and all that type of stuff. None of that worked. None of that worked. But my goal, the ultimate goal was to just keep a healthy mind and a healthy body because it was just me pushing myself. I was my drive. I was the motivation. So I was trying to push myself to just keep going and keep a clear mind on the journey. So 2016, at the end of that journal entry, I was talking about my second ever photo shoot. So I trying to market Kissmeco and doing this very different thing that I wasn't too much just used to yet. I like knew of things of how to sell it, but I really I didn't know how to sell makeup, just being completely honest. Like I felt like, and we may put some pictures of my first photo shoot in this episode, but my first photo shoot, I was just holding the lipstick enclosed in the cap and just showing the camera like, hey y'all, I'm selling lipstick. Nobody could see the color. Nobody could see anything. I'm just like, I'm selling lipstick. Do y'all want some? Come get it. It's like, I didn't know what I was doing. But it was a start. And I learned from that. I learned from my mistakes in that because I think I was talking with somebody that was like, look, the pictures are cute, but we don't see the we don't see the colors. How are you gonna sell it? And I was like, you know what, you're right. 'Cause I didn't think about that. But learn from that mistake, tweaked it, and started to just learn from, the things that I didn't know and just kept going, kept investing. Um, I also I have notes here, so I'm kind of just going off the top of my dome too of basically of things that I remember because we will refer back to some journal entries, but I feel like a lot of the journal entries in 2016 were still reflective. They still spoke to Kissmeco, but they were more so in the bad and the ugly part. So we're still in the good part. So one thing about in speaking to the good that was happening with Kissmeco, it was helping me putting systems in place was helping to maintain and rev up this momentum in starting this business, especially in Little Rock. Like, I would connect with different women just in the city that would have like pop-up shops and just whatever, wherever I could get my name out and set up shop, I would go do it. So who can I think of off the top of my like a Kissy with Ambitious Girls? Like I've been to some of her pop up shops. Michelle went to some of her pop up shops at the Girlfriend. Girlfriend Boutique, that was Miss Tanya. Like so many different ladies that had a hand in helping me. Just like, hey, you want to come do pop up shop? You want to come over here and do this? I did it like so many pop up shops in the beginning of Kissmeco, which was helping to rev up the momentum. So in my head at the time, I'm just working. Like I'm just trying to check things off and do it, but I'm also not really, I guess, just sitting in the fact that people were starting to gravitate towards Kissmeco and just what I was doing with it. And, people was like, well, I want to, like, following me and just, I would say, like, people were at the time of just feeling something from it. And because I was in it, I'm not really connecting things because I'm just trying to get things done. I'm just trying to hurry up and work. But me looking back though, it just makes me think about like I guess the inspiration that it was kind of conjuring up at the time. Like people were feeling it, and little Keisha at the time, me speaking to her, it's like, girl, you were on your way. But I was building up this momentum enough to get, I guess, recognition from some people out in St. Louis. So it was some college, they went to Harris, those so two college kids, they reached out to me. They were like creative directors, just in their own right and in their city, just doing different things around St. Louis. So one of them reached out to me, and one of them was a guy. So he reached out to me. He was just like, I've been following you for just a little small moment, but I like what you're doing. Because at the time, of course, I was making all the lipsticks. I was recording it. I was recording me making the lipsticks. I was recording me packaging the lipsticks. I was recording all of that. So I'm guessing that, reached out, and I don't know, I guess it touched them. They was like, hey, we want to work with you. And me at the time, and I can speak to like when you start a business and you, especially in this Instagram era, like you just feel like, okay, this the next big thing. I'm gonna be rich tomorrow. I knew that wasn't realistic, but I also thought I would be rich tomorrow. Like that's how I was working. Like I'm trying to hit this next big thing so I can be rich. And I'm gonna speak into that as we get into like the different other parts as far as the bad and the ugly parts of Kissmeco, because I felt like I had to work my way up to this apex, and then everything was gonna just fall in place at that moment, and I was painstakingly wrong. I was very wrong in that line of thinking, but I guess I was just, I don't know. I was just trying to hit some type of point. But once we got to connect with St. Louis, it kind of just gave me a little pep, like, this is something really good. I just had to continue to connect to the fact, like, this is something that can, I don't know, like, change your life in a way, but it's not gonna change. It's not gonna change your life in the way that you think it will. So we'll keep talking about that. But St. Louis, shout out to Timothy, shout out to Tierra out in St. Louis. I have not talked to them really since then, but I just appreciate them for seeing. Because at the time, what's crazy, 2016, the beginning of 2016, we were just off the cups of Mike Brown's, can we say killing? Unaliving? Because I know we're on YouTube, but rest in peace to Mike Brown. But right after Mike Brown's passing happened, um, and y'all know that happened like in Ferguson, Missouri, but right outside of St. Louis, they were a part of all of that. And of course, if you know me, you know I am straight up Black Power to the down to the bone. Y'all know me, but I I just felt like it was all aligned that right after that, these people reached out to me, and what they were working on in St. Louis was kind of trying to highlight different Black businesses in their area. So I just thought it was kind of cool. Like, y'all, this is something that y'all are doing for y'all's local town, but y'all reached out to me. That's crazy. So we end up linking up, planned a trip for me to go up there for a weekend. They paid for it. I went up there. We kicked it. Just made some different plans on trying to see how we could integrate Kissmeco coming to St. Louis with them. And and I'm always forgetting too. I had my first radio interview there. I don't even remember. Like, so much has happened. I didn't even write that down. But I had a radio interview up there with them. It was recorded. They put it on their radio YouTube. Just our highlight that they did as far as the highlight for Kissmeco. So hopefully we can add that in here too, or maybe we'll just add the link to that video on this one. But had a nice interview with them toward the radio station. It was really a cool experience, especially for a first experience for something for my business at the time. Because I'm like, it took for the radio station in St. Louis to see me. What's up, Little Rock? Like, I ain't, what I'm saying? But anyway, but that was my mindset at the time. I'm just like, what? I could have been on Power 92. I could have been, anyway. But cool experience. We had some plans. Plans fell through. But it was still a good experience. At the end of the day, I still loved it. After St. Louis and that connection, I started to just continue to keep up the momentum. And I found, because as I said before, like, when I first bought my package of lipsticks in 2015, making the money from that and then trying to see was I going to buy another package from the same company, it didn't really go right. So that just led me to say, I'm going to use the money. I'm going to just buy all the ingredients myself, and I'm going to teach myself how to make it. So that then led me to look up cosmetic, like, manufacturing and how that even looked and how that worked and stuff like that. So at the time, I had a friend that stayed in Dallas, and I went to go see him. But in that trip, I made a note to go to this thing called Your Name Pro showcase in Dallas. And Your Name Pro is basically like a wholesale, not wholesale, what is that name? I'm going to say wholesale, but private label, that's what it is. It was a private label company that would, create lipstick or just cosmetics in general. And I'm like, okay, let me just go do this class for 2 days. And I went, and it was like the coolest thing I had ever been to. It was so much makeup everywhere, and they had like on site makeup artists and cosmetic scientists there to tell you about each lipstick, eyebrow pencil, eyeliner, everything. Um, and I made some cool connections there. And of course, the people that were there were like established spa owners, established beauty salon owners that were all out of Dallas. So I'm just a little rinky dink person, making stuff in my kitchen, trying to get to a point, what I'm saying, that I did have a place where I owned. But in comparison to everybody that was there, I was in the room. I was in the room with those type of women, and I was just inspired. So I just kept, I took from what I learned there as far as like marketing the product and things like that. I just took what I learned from there and just brought it home. And I did end up buying a private label package of lipsticks from them. So it wasn't a trip that just went to waste. It actually helped me. But from that momentum going with that, I also was able, so I spoke to saying like Power 92 should have had me on the radio. I'm just kidding, because I did get recognized. Shout out to Miss Lady Magazine. I was able to get on the cover of Miss Lady Magazine in 2016. This was the naturally homegrown, the Good Look book. So I was on here with other local entrepreneurs in the city that also had homegrown natural beauty care products. So we had Mr. Michael Hutchins here. He had like the beard oils and all the beard care. Miss Leah Patterson, I believe she had makeup that was good to wear while you were like active wear makeup. Miss Aaliyah Fisher, I believe she made clothes at the time. Girl, please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm so sorry. I believe she made clothes at the time. And then Miss Nakia had hair care, which was, I believe at the time, was being sold at Drug Emporium. So everybody had their own thing going. It was cool. And then they had little old me. They called little old me and put me on the thing. It was real cool, real cool. I still have so many of these magazines, because it's a pretty proud moment. I really like that. But it's like I can't speak to, saying like, people like to say like there's no support in Little Rock, and I just don't believe that. Like, because I had it. I had it. So that's neither here nor there. But I have my note here as far as like saying like 2016 was a very creative year, as far as I pushed myself to different limits that I hadn't pushed myself before. I'll say also that I've always been a creative person, but I know as I was moving into adulthood, having to show myself creatively, that was just a little different because of how I wanted to show myself. But you also, you can have a little bit of insecurity in that as well. So trying to combat that, trying to not let insecurity overtake me in my thought processes, and like stopping the momentum that was going on. So give me a second. I got another journal entry for you. Let's see. So this is my journal entry, just reflecting what had happened in just my trip of going to St. Louis at the time. So this is July 22nd, 2016. It's been about 2 months since I last wrote in this journal. It's been a fast summer. I feel like it's just going back by, and I'm not really doing anything. I'm trying though, so I won't complain. I've been to St. Louis. It was a great trip. I met and connected with Tierra and Timothy. I felt like we were meeting for some greater purpose, but I'm not sure yet. Of course, to make Kissmeco big, but I felt like it was something else. Or it could just be me overthinking or overcomplicating the situation like I often do. in between St. Louis and now, not too much has happened. This has been a IDK type of time. Hey, this has been a IDK type of time. I'm not sure if this is. I'm not sure if this is working. I'm not sure if this work that I'm doing is even necessary. Sorry, I can't read my whole own handwriting. I hope it is. I would hate to have used up all this time and really didn't get anything accomplished. I guess I'm not too sure of myself, but I'm snapping out of it slowly but surely by taking my time with everybody in every situation. This is this is feeling good to just clear my head and write, especially I guess I was at the river, so I was like, especially with the water surrounding me. So sometimes when I would just feel too overwhelmed, I would just go to the river, take my journal, and just write it out. So, with this particular entry, like this is after St. Louis, but I'm starting to doubt things. So that's why I was like, we had a good trip, and in me speaking to like not much happened after that, but I was starting to, because things weren't happening after that, I was starting to feel like maybe this thing that I'm trying to do is a waste of time. And I started to, in a way, I kind of started to just let that line of thinking like track into 2016. So I'll say we can kind of duck walk a little bit into the bad. And keep in mind that I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my shit. Okay, so we gonna keep it too. I might be kind of going back and forth between the good, the bad, and the ugly in this episode, but I want to speak to just my mindset. What I was just saying, like I'm starting to doubt myself, like me starting to doubt Kissmeco as it was with the lipsticks at the time. I started to say, well, let me try to get out some other ideas at the time. So I started toying with the idea of starting a clothing brand, which was named Hustle Babe. I started to do that, and I started to, because I made my website, I was making all of my marketing posts. Shout out to Canva and Wix. Canva and Wix, y'all have really grown over the past few years, but Canva and Wix, I was using them at the beginning of really when they started. So I kind of feel like we all started together, but I just made all of my marketing posts and I made my website. So with me kind of using the skills using and making my website, I was, helping other people start and, make their websites for them. And on the overall tip, I did that because I needed money. Just when Kissmeco wasn't doing what it was supposed to do and my job wasn't doing, just trying to keep money flowing. But I feel like, and this is just 30-year-old me saying this to younger me at that time, like I feel like I shouldn't have took my focus off plan A. And I feel like once I took the focus off of that, that's when I let too much of, all the other stuff to seep in. It's kind of like when you take your focus off of plan A and now you're trying to work every other plan other than your plan A. And everything just kind of was getting siphoned, I will say, out of all of the creativity that I was trying to put into Kissmeco at the time. I'm now like, okay, let me start making shirts. Let me start helping other people make their website. So I'm putting a lot of creative thought into other people's projects, and I wasn't ready to do that. Like I wasn't, even though like it served its purpose at the time, I just wasn't ready to go out and help other people when I was still in infant mode in my business. And the only reason I did that is because I needed the money. And I got a note here of just saying like, it's a thin line between, you doing things, doing the things for money, but it's also like when you're operating out of lack. And I felt like I was operating out of like, oh, I need more money. I need more money. And I'm just hustling myself crazy. And once I had enough time, after I done made all the websites, after I done, kind of poured into other people's ideas and stuff, I get back to me, I'm depleted. I don't even got nothing else to give to me. I'm tired. Now I'm just like, well, I guess I gotta just go back to work. But I was brewing a resentment towards myself, but it was kind of coming out in different ways, I will say. So that's kind of speaking to the bad, I will say. Also at the time, while I was, drawing attention from people in St. Louis, I also drew a little connection with a guy here that wanted to invest in Kissmeco. Shout out to Christian. Christian was real cool, very silent. He wanted to come in like a silent partner to invest in Kissmeco at the time. But like I said, my mind was on so many different things. I started to siphon the energy out of Kissmeco, and I, honestly speaking, I did not deliver on my part. And now, he then came through and put, X amount of money into Kissmeco, but I just felt like I failed it. This is now me saying it to them, but I just felt like I failed the investment at the time because I really wasn't ready to have investors. I wasn't ready to be helping other people. I wasn't ready for that. I should have continued to just keep my head down and solely focus on my business, Kissmeco and Kissmeco only. But like I said, I had Hustle Babe going. I do my own stunts shirts going. Shout out to I do my own stunts. That was really like a testament to me creating my own lipsticks, doing my own websites. Everything I was doing it by myself. So I kind of just was popping my own thing. I was like, look, I'm doing my own stunts. So that was one of the shirts that I had under that. But at the same time, as that was going on, I dropped out of Pulaski Tech, stopped going there, and I was putting the intention was to put all my energy into Kissmeco, but like I said, I started to just do everything else but that. But I'll say too, like with having Christian and having Timothy from St. Louis kind of guided me, because I feel like on one end, like they both served their purpose, and I appreciated it. Like I said, I just shouldn't have been putting my stock into other people yet. It just wasn't the time yet. And we'll talk about it as we get into 2017, but I just feel like it really, and it's not even, that's no word to both of them in that instance. It was all me, and me trying to work too fast, trying to hit these different apexes of goals so fast. I was trying to do it too fast. And I'll say me trying to hit these different goals so fast is because people don't like to be real, because I was being real at the time, but I can be real frank now and just saying social media can affect you, and it can affect you in more negative ways than positive. And I'll say, like, at the time, it was different other people as far as businesses go that I was following, Ming Lee with Snob Life, all these different people that I was inspired by. But you feel like, since you're seeing it on your phone, you feel like, okay, I can do that. Or you're trying to rush to hit the points that they are hitting, but your timeline and somebody else's timeline are not parallel. So that's just one thing. Like, I'm trying to hit her same goals or hit her same marks. You're nowhere near that, That's how I was just running through things then. But I'll say, like, at the time too, I quit the job. So the job I was talking about in the last two episodes, I was working at a nursing home, and the nursing home was outside of me starting going to the gym, the nursing home was a real stable job for me. So it's helping me build that discipline, and try to keep a solid foundation so I could build the business. But then I was like, I'm ready to go. So I end up quitting. So now that I'm quit the job, I've dropped out of school. I got all these different ideas working at the same time. I'm really now being challenged, and it's all like challenges that I felt like I could have avoided if I would have just been patient. So, um, I'll say that's the bad. That's part of the bad that I had going on. But one thing I will say that was like one message that I kept hearing throughout all of that time that I just did not even want to accept at the time was like my family or just different people that I would run into. Is like, you gotta focus on one thing at a time. You gotta focus. You gotta build this first, then do that. I just like, I can do it all. I can do everything. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. So when I was doing that, I at the time I didn't know, but me now being able to reflect, I could just see that I felt like I had to prove myself. I felt like I had to continue to prove myself, and prove that I'm worthy. And that's why, like just the things that, last two episodes we talked about with my mom and all that type of stuff, me trying to seek this validation from her or seek these validations from everybody outside of myself. I'm now overworking. I'm putting that energy, I'm taking that from that, but I'm now putting it into my business. But it's now showing up in different ugly ways because I'm trying to overwork myself into proving my worth. And that wasn't good because I didn't, I ended up getting burnt out at the end of it. So let's do another journal entry real quick and we'll get into the ugly. I kind of been letting it all flow, the good, the bad, and the ugly. But y'all see this time I don't have my little markers in my book. But let's see. So, July 26, 2016. Everything is going to fall in place. You are doing good. You're doing great. You're beautiful. You can do anything. Be slow. Don't overuse your mind. Clear your mind so you can organize it. Organize your thoughts and thinking. More income is coming your way. Stay humble and continue to work hard. Don't let things get to you. It won't be long. It won't be long. It won't be long. Don't worry about anything. God has everything under control. Be positive. Take time for yourself in your mind when necessary. God got you. Positivity is all around you in your mind, and so positive is coming to you. Stay calm, stay diligent, and stay ready. So I think I got another one too. Yes. So I'm going backwards because I'm just speaking to how my mindset was at the time. But one thing I will say that I'm able to do very well is reflect on things that I can get better on. And I still do this to this day, and I do it by month. Like, okay, what could I have done better in the month of May? Like, I've always been like that. So I'm like this even then. But I had a list of things that I was saying that I wanted to get rid of or just let go at the time. And this is kind of going back some months in this journal, but I said I wanted to let go of laziness, the lack of cooking for myself, the feeling that it should be me only, social media so much, the fear of what others think, my insecurities, and the fear of my own mind. I just feel like because at the time I'm having to reparent myself, so I'm over critiquing myself. I'm like hyper vigilant, and that's why I felt like I was constantly speaking to trying to keep a clear mind because I was my mind was working in my sleep. Like it was just constantly on like a refrigerator. And with that, I just felt like I'm overthinking, I'm producing, but I feel like I'm a hamster on a hamster wheel. I'm not going anywhere. Like I'm getting things done, but I'm not going anywhere at the same time. So I said laziness in my workouts, specifically on that laziness part. And I was continuing to, I'm like, dang, no other time people be wanting to hit me up, and they will hit me up now. But laziness in the workouts, I guess I may have hit a slack at the time, but me trying to stay disciplined and me trying to stay on track was the like the overall undertone of everything. But I want to speak to the part where I say the feeling that it should be me only. One thing I try to say or keep apparent in the themes of my journals, like, of course, I write my prayers out, but with writing my prayers is me being totally honest about situations that were occurring at the time, or just what's on my mind at the time, or whatever. Because I feel like speaking to things honestly, candidly, and just straight up, even if you may be wrong in this situation, because it's not always somebody else. We yourself be messing up too. So me being able to speak to that and say that, it will help me to, I mean, more ways to just take accountability. I feel like in business, because I learned to take accountability through business, or just the word accountability. You know, I didn't never really heard that floating around the house, but I just knew, like, when I started a business, like I said, I didn't know what I was doing, but I knew at the core of a business and how a good business is run, you have to be a good person, I guess, or just not even a good person, just fair, I will say. Like you gotta have a good base of character if you're gonna be in business, because you're dealing with people. And I just know, like, it would have been a disservice to me and my business if I didn't know how to take accountability, because I'm not gonna always be right. I might get things wrong. I might mess up a lipstick. I am creating the lipsticks myself, so I might mess up. So there was times in for instance, like, where I made a batch of lipsticks that just didn't do good, you know, and somebody bought it and it's like, hey, my lipstick fell, or my lipstick broke, my lipstick melted, my lipstick color didn't come out the right way, or whatever. So learning to take accountability very quickly helped me in business, but it also helped me just be just in in my personal life, I would say. So, but I think I had points in time where I was just feeling like, because I'm still trying to seek validation. I just wasn't trying to hear nobody else. Like, it's just me. It's just me only. And I guess in ways, me saying it or speaking to it now, I don't feel like it was all the way a bad thing, but I think how other people might perceive it, it might feel like a selfish thing. So we'll speak more to that into the next year. But but to speak more, I'll say that part is part of the ugly too. But I have a note here as far as to speak to the ugly part of building up Kissmeco is the ups and downs of trusting myself and doing things creatively versus doing things for money. So I, like I said, that lack in trying to do things, like, I don't know, it's a difference when you're able to do things creatively and money isn't an issue. But if money is an issue, if you're in dire straits, like, things can get a little desperate. And I feel like people can sense that off you when you're trying to constantly get a dollar. And I felt like at the time that's kind of where my car was going. I felt like I was kind of getting into damn near begging. Like, I just felt like I was getting to a point where I gotta do this, I gotta do it, gotta make a dollar, I gotta hit my quota, I gotta do this, I was going crazy at the time. And I outside of it, like once I got out of 2016 and more years kind of went by, I started to see like, that's an ick. Like you were operating from a place of lack, and I just feel like when people see that up off you, people start to kind of do this thing of, and this is something I've spoke about before, like on Twitter before, but I never wanted to be a business where people just do things for the support, like for the flip it support. Like support me, but support me or support the business because you actually like it. Support the business because you find something valuable to you in your life. Support the business because you really like it. Don't just treat it like a charity. And I always felt like because of the climate and how things were changing, like things started to shift. We're doing more as far as our community, as far as being black, look, we were putting a lot of more focus into our black owned businesses at the time. So I just felt like because, and not even, negating the intention, because I feel like the intention was in the right place. But I just never wanted my business to get swept up in the quote unquote charity box of support, because I'm like, that's not how you build a business. I don't know how to build. I can't connect with my core audience or my market if everybody's supporting me just off GP saying, oh, she a black girl and I'm just supporting the business. And when you never wore the lipstick, when you never, share the picture, you don't really know anything, you just throwing money at it. And I always just looked at it as that it just looked charity to me. So, and I only say that too because at the same time, people on Instagram at the time, they were doing the, like you could buy an ad, you could buy an ad and place your ads as far as for your business. You could place the ads on these different celebrities' pages and stuff. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. I'll say, as we tie up this episode and how I can reflect on 2016 being 30, but looking at my 21, 22-year-old self at the time. As y'all can hear, this episode is just more so focused on Kissmeco. Of course, Kissmeco and just me being able to keep working, put my head down, but I still was kind of being hit with all these different, just all this different adversity at the time. But I'll say to that, like, with Kissmeco being something very new for me and me having to, this now being, I guess, the measure of building my confidence more, I just felt like at the time, Kissmeco was starting to affect people around me positively and negatively. And it started to seep into my relationships, which I just never understood why it did, or how it did, because I'm like, if the people around me know and have been close to me and know what I'm going through and know what I have been going through, I feel like, not even that you should be proud of me. I just feel like all the extra feelings, the negative feelings that come along with that could have been kept. But discernment helped me pick up on certain things. And I will speak to that when we get into 2017. I'm going to just go ahead and let y'all know 2017 was not a good year for your girl. I did not like 2017. It was such a turbulent year. But I wanted to set the groundwork as far as the good, the bad, the ugly with Kissmeco, where my mindset was, and how it was just the groundwork year from where I had just came from with the relationships that I was in, but also this being a launch pad to where I was going to be even like right now as I'm talking. But yeah, I feel like we're going to get into the nitty gritty more so. This is light. I feel like this was real light, but I feel like we're gonna get real deep in 2017. So next episode, y'all, I need y'all ready. I need you to have your wine. I need you to be comfortable. I need you sitting down. And I need you to hear me out on that one, because we're gonna really get into some things on that one. But if I just have to wrap this up real quick on what I've learned from Kissmeco at that time for me, then for me now, I'll say it really taught me to just stay disciplined and just stick to the plan. If I could go through and show all of my little note, little doodles and jot downs in my journal, a lot of them said stick to the plan. If I would have just stuck to my plan and kept all my focus on Kissmeco like the plan was in the first place, I feel like I probably would still be I probably would still be selling lipsticks at this point. But, everything works out and works in the way that it's supposed to. So, not mad at it at all. But that's my takeaway I would take from that. If there's something that you're doing and you feel like your plan A is not good or whatever, soon as you take the belief out of plan A, it's not gonna work, straight up. So if you believe in it, keep that belief and keep working at it, because it is gonna be a roller coaster. It is gonna be ups and downs with it. But if you just stay faithful and be a good steward to your work, God got you at the end of it, straight up every time. But soon as you start to consult other people, soon as you start to, hey, what y'all think about this idea? How y'all think about this? When God gave you that idea to go run and go do something with it, hey, what happens from there is up to the, I don't know, because you should have just listened to the message. You should have just listened to really the command to tell you to go get that idea out. So that's my reflection. That's what I took away from 2016. But I'm glad y'all made it to the end. I thank y'all so much. This is the end of episode 3, 2016. Kissmeco, the good, the bad, the ugly. We'll have the playlist up and ready for y'all. I'll link it in the show notes and all of those things. So thank y'all so much for staying with me. This is the Kissmeco podcast, the Dear 20 series. I'll see y'all next time. Peace out.